Okay, so good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today for our Cybersecurity 101 webinar with our newest SBAM-approved partner, Sunsci. I'm Kelly Nierick, the Senior Director of Products and Services for the Small Business Association of Michigan. Now more than ever, small businesses need to be protected from cyber attacks. Yet most of our members find cyber solutions to be expensive, confusing, complicated, and time-consuming. Sunsci can help close that gap. Their only business is cybersecurity with a focus on small to medium-sized business, which is perfect for our member base. If your business happens to be in the managed service provider space, you'll be happy to know that Sunsci is not your competition. They complement your work by combining a technology platform with real people who are dedicated to help companies improve their cybersecurity health on an ongoing basis and in plain language. At its core, Sunsci provides fractional Chief Security Office services. So why did SBAM go down this path, and what is the Sunsci offer? Cybersecurity has been a top of mind concern for SBAM for several years now. In fact, we've done many seminars, webinars, we've written articles for our magazine and our e-newsletter. We even had an evaluation product for a while. Unfortunately, the pandemic took our focus away from cybersecurity, but now we're back at it. And you may not know this, but right now, the greatest external threat to organizations is cybersecurity attacks. And small businesses are becoming more frequent targets each and every day. Some scary numbers that Sunsci shared with us recently are that 43% of data breaches involve small businesses. There was a 424% increase in new small business cyber breaches last year. And 47% of small businesses say they have no understanding of how to protect themselves. So our goal is to help that 47% protect their small business, their employees, and their family members. So why did we choose to partner with Sunsci? Well, no one can be 100% protected from a cyber attack. Sunsci provides a cost-effective strategy that will significantly reduce your risk and ensure that you can recover should an attack occur. They will be your trusted guide through your whole cybersecurity journey. Some deliverables that Sunsci promises is that they'll independently measure and monitor your cyber health and provide an overall score on a customized dashboard on an ongoing basis. They develop a prioritized action plan to help improve your company's cyber health, and this plan is updated throughout the year. They create and maintain a cybersecurity guide, including policies to best protect your company. And they help with cybersecurity training for your employees, which is very important. And they do vulnerability scanning and social engineering campaigns to see if they can penetrate your security through those employees and your processes on a regular basis. And if need be, they can recommend vendors to help address specific areas of your needs at discounted rates whenever possible. So today, we will be exploring the basics of keeping your information safe, who the bad actors are, what kind of threats are out there, and what you can do to protect your company. And this is the first in what will be a monthly web series on cybersecurity hosted by our partner, Sunsci. So presenting today is Dave Kelly. He is Sunsci's Chief Technology Officer. Dave served 26 years with the Michigan State Police, where he was the commanding officer of the Michigan Cyber Command Center and the Michigan Intelligence Operations Center. Dave retired from the MSP as an enlisted captain and the Director of Technology. Dave has held government leadership positions in Cyber Command, Threat Intelligence, Digital Forensics, Cyber Response, and Security Operations Centers. Also with us today is David Barron. He is Sunsci's Chief Client Success Officer. David has held executive leadership roles in the private and public sector for over 20 years. In these roles, he has led award-winning information technology functions across the enterprise, aligning technology with the company's business objectives. He spent over 6 years as a cabinet member for Governor Rick Snyder as the director of the Department of Technology, Management, and Budget, and Chief Information Officer for the state of Michigan. So this webinar is being recorded, and we will send you a note when the recording becomes available. This way, you can listen again if you miss a point. You can share with other members of your team that couldn't be with us today. And you can ask any follow-up questions if you so please. Due to the number of people with us this afternoon, you are muted, but you're not silenced. At the end of the webinar, we will open it up for live questions and answers. And in the meantime, we encourage you to use that chat feature. We'll monitor any questions and provide answers as we go through the slides. So at this time, I'm going to hand it over to Dave Kelly, who's going to share some polling questions to get us started today. Dave?
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Thanks, Kelly, for the warm introduction. We're happy to be here and excited to share some basic instructions for you on how to keep yourself and your families protected from cyber incidents. Well, before we get into that, we really want to make this interactive. So I'm going to hit you guys with a few poll questions. There'll actually be 4 of them. We ask that everybody please participate and answer the questions, because they'll tie back into David's presentation, and then at the end of the presentation, we'll have a look at the results. So with that, I will start you off with the first polling question, and it is: do you have a cybersecurity incident response plan? So, is your company have a written plan of what to do in the event of a cyber attack? And we'll give everybody a little bit of time to answer them. All right, looks like we've got 70%. I'll give you a couple more seconds here. Oh, yeah, we still got answers coming in. All right. We will move to the next question. And the next question is: do you feel prepared to respond should a cybersecurity incident occur? And we'll give about a minute for each one of these to come through. It took about a minute. We got 80% of folks voting in that minute, so it's probably a good time to. All right, we're at 45 seconds. All right, looks like we're not getting any more votes in. So we'll close that one. We'll go to the next one. And the next question is: do you have written cybersecurity policies? So policies that are written down that you share with your staff and employees. All right, everyone's getting the hang of it now. We're getting up to, the votes are coming in much faster. All right. Looks like everybody's voted. And so we'll close this one. We'll go to the last one. And the last one is, do you have an automated process that forces your users on your networks to change their passwords? All right, it looks like everybody's voted. So let me close out the polling and we'll get on with the presentation, and then we'll circle back and have a look at the results together. So welcome everyone once again, and I'm going to hand it off now to David Bean, who's going to talk through Cybersecurity 101. David?
All right, good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? Truth be told, I do this presentation usually live. And so I usually walk around. I usually interact with people really closely because what I want to do is I want to make this presentation not only informative, but fun. And so that's what we're going to do today. So I want you to be interactive. If you have questions, please put them in chat. We'll look at those because this is really about, we're going to educate you on some things, but we also want to have a pretty good time and have a little fun doing this, all right? Usually when I give this presentation, and again, I'm going to say this now, don't want to embarrass anyone or anything like that. I'm going to say some things, and usually when I'm live with you, I can see people, they immediately start writing things down, or they look to the person sitting next to them and mouth, I do that, those kind of things. But we're not gonna be able to do that today, but just keep that in mind as you go through this. There's gonna be a couple things I'm gonna point out that if you're doing them now, we're gonna ask you to stop doing them starting today. So what today I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk about, I'm gonna give you some scary stats. I'm gonna talk about, who are the threat actors? What are some of the threats we're facing? How are you gonna protect yourself and your company and your organizations? And then I'm actually going to also go into how I protect myself and my family, because I figure the things I preach I better do. So I look forward to this conversation with you, and I look forward to being interactive and fun. So let's get started. So this is like, look at this, cyber incidents, they're everywhere. All right, they are absolutely everywhere. This is like a day in David Bean's life. For example, I wake up, I grab a coffee and donut while driving to the airport. I get to the airport, I go through security, Homeland Security. I get to my gate, I jump on my Mac laptop, and I check my Facebook and my Yahoo email. Just, regular stuff I do in my day. And then I take my Delta flight to my destination. I jump in my Uber to go to the Marriott where I'm staying. But as I'm jumping in my Uber and I'm getting to Marriott, I get to Marriott, I'm like, oh my God, I forgot my AirPods. So I run to Best Buy to buy AirPods. And on the way from Best Buy, I stop by Whole Foods to get a smoothie. Kind of see a theme here? Everywhere I go, they've had a cyber incident. And you can see some of the scary facts. But don't be too discouraged. There's a lot of great things we can do to help protect you and protect your families. So here's some scary stats. 43% of cyber attacks target small businesses. That's a lot. Just 26% of small business owners have cyber attack insurance. 47% of small business with fewer than 50 employees have no cybersecurity budget. I'm not going to go through all of these data points. My point is, You saw the big companies I talked about, Facebook, Best Buy, Apple, Marriott, Delta. It's not just the big companies. As a matter of fact, as Kelly said at the beginning of this, small and medium-sized organizations are a major target. The attacks on small and medium-sized organizations have gone up 420% over the last year. So small and medium-sized organizations are a target. And that's what I'm trying to show on this scary stat slide. I now want to talk about who are the threat actors. You're asking yourself, who does this? And why do they do it? So let me talk a little bit about that. First of all, and you guys see this on the news probably every day, or you read about it, you know, on your laptop or your iPad or your, you know, your phone. There's nation states. It's a fact. There's nation states out there who are want to harm the United States and our allies. That's Russia, China, North Korea, Iran. Those are the four that we usually talk about. And the fact of the matter is, they want to disrupt our economy and they want to disrupt our quality of life. They don't want to see the United States and our allies who have democracies really thriving. And so what they do, and they also want to steal a lot of our secrets and our technology and those kind of things. Those are nation states. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to disrupt our economy. That's why they're mainly in the business. So the first threat actor is a nation state. The second one is organized crime. Think about organized crime. Think about cartels. Think about the mafia. Think about those kind of things. And the things, think about what organized crime used to do. They used to do bootlegging. They used to do illegal gambling and a bunch of other things that are not widely accepted in our society. Organized crime still does those. But now they're starting to do cyber. Why are they doing cyber? Because they can do it behind a keyboard, they can do it kind of in secret, and they can make a lot of money. Think about ransomware and the things that, and the amount of money they can make doing ransomware and other cyber attacks. That's organized crime. They do it because they make a lot of money. Then you look at terrorists. Think about Al-Shabaab, think of ISIS, some of those very scary organizations. Why do they do it? They do it to fund their operations. They do it because they can make a lot of money and bring a lot of resources in to fund the things that they do to disrupt the target they're trying to disrupt. So our threat actors are nation states trying to mess with our economy, our democracy, our way of life, our quality of life. Organized crime, trying to make money. Terrorists, making money to fund their activities. You then have hacktivists. And hacktivists are environmental organizations, political organizations, young adults. They are out to embarrass you. They're not out to steal your money. What they're out to do is kind of embarrass you and have you make maybe public statements to retract some of the things you've done. They probably think you have done something to wrong society. And so they're going to try to embarrass you. They're going to deface your website. They might do a denial of service attack on your website so that you can't do business. But a funny one is, people have probably heard about this one. There is a funny one when you talk about young adults. There was a student down in Miami-Dade County, Florida, who thought it would be really smart kid. Thought it'd be kind of humorous and funny to go in and change his grades. What teenager hasn't dreamed about doing that at some point, right? So he went in and did that. And when he was in there, he thought, hey, you know what? Why not change my friend's grades? And so he did that as well. Well, he got caught. And he got in a lot of trouble. But I can tell you, from what I understand, he had multiple job offers extremely fast after this incident. So hacktivists, what they're trying to do is they're trying to embarrass you. They think you've wronged society or some kind. You've wronged somebody, and they want to set an example. And then you have insider threats. And insider threats are something that are, to me, are scary. They're all scary, but insider threats are becoming a real serious one as well. Usually an insider threat's a disgruntled employee or a disgruntled contractor. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to steal secrets, sell those secrets, maybe steal some of your information and sell it. It's interesting now in the cyber world, there's organizations in Eastern Europe, South America that are really organized cyber gangs, cyber communities. We do know for a fact that one of them in Eastern Europe actually has like an HR department, a finance department. They have bonus programs, employee education programs. Yeah, I'm talking about, this is a cyber group doing this. This is really, really crazy stuff. But I do know they put out, on the dark web, they put out ads for people who they say who are not happy with their employer, please contact us. And what we'll do is we'll compensate you to help us get into your network. That is the insider threat. And it's becoming more and more prevalent. And so it's just something we need to consider. So as you think about threat actors, you think about nation states, Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, some others, who really, they want to disrupt our democracy. They want to mess with our quality of life, our economy. That's their goal. You think about organized crime and terrorists. They're funding their operations and they're making a lot of money doing it. You have hacktivists who, again, are trying to embarrass you. They feel you've wronged them in some way. They're really there for the money, but they're disrupt the way you do business. And then you got insider threats. And insider threats are the ones that are going to try to steal some information, steal some proprietary information or product, and maybe sell that. So these are your threat actors. What a heck of a world we live in, right? So this is what's going on, and these are the threat actors. Now I want to talk a little bit about, and again, I want to encourage you to put something in the chat. If you just have a comment, put a comment in. If you have a question, put a question in. Let's be interactive if we can. I want to talk a little bit now about the very common attack types that we're facing. And again, I'm giving scary stats. I'm giving who's doing it. I'm going to give you some scary attack types. And then we're going to talk about the ways we can really protect ourselves and our companies. First one, phishing. Everybody here, and then usually when I'm in a live audience, I ask them to raise their hand. How many people have had a phishing email recently? And literally every hand goes up. And when some people don't raise their hand, I ask them if they're on email, right? So phishing, it's an email that comes to you. Usually it's asking you to do something very quickly. It's promising you something. It's offering them a monetary reward. And there's usually misspellings, and there's clear indications that it's a phishing attack. But what they want you to do is they want you to click on that link, or they want you to download that file. And when you do that, then information goes into your network. It's downloaded on your device, and it goes into your network, and it can cause all sorts of problems. Phishing is the #1 cause of cyber attacks through email. Everybody knows them. Everybody sees them. And I don't think anyone maliciously downloads or clicks a link or downloads a file. What I think happens, they're in a rush and they're not paying attention, or they haven't been formally educated on how to look for phishing. So phishing is something that they're trying to have you act on very quickly and having you rush with promises of something. Spear phishing is a little bit different. Spear phishing is the bad guys have actually done a little bit of research on you. And they're actually kind of coming after you a little bit. You see a lot of spear phishing in organizations. And what they'll do is they will research your company a little bit. They'll know some of the things you're doing. They will have specific information in the email about your company or about you so that it looks very familiar to you. And you think, wow, that's a real email. But it's a phishing email, but it's directly targeted at you. And so spear phishing is another one that is a common occurrence. It doesn't take a lot to do a lot of investigation on people anymore. And so they can do a little bit of research. They can understand the things that you like, your preferences, what your company's doing, and they will put together a pretty detailed email that comes to you. There are some clear indications that it is a phishing email, a spear phishing email, and we can get into that a little bit later. There's another one called whaling. Whaling is when they focus on the C-level folks in your organization, the business owner, the CEO, the CFO, and that's why they're the big fish, right? That's why it's called whaling. And what they will do is they will put together information on that person, and they'll do a lot of investigation and make sure that that email is really targeted towards you or towards your boss or your executive in your company. The best one I've ever seen was a CEO that I know, traveled a lot. He traveled a lot on Delta, and they knew that. The bad guys knew that. And so what they did is they put together it looked like a Delta itinerary, and they sent that whaling email to his administrative assistant. In that email, it showed that he was going to be they knew he was traveling that week. It showed travel dates. It showed destinations and what it had on there. And so the administrative assistant looked at it very quickly and was like, oh yeah, well, we know he's doing that. We know he's going there. And it said, please confirm. It had a confirm button. They clicked the confirm button and the bad guys were in. That is a tip. That is a very good whaling attack. But the whaling attacks are, again, remember, they're going after CEOs, CFOs, CIOs, anyone in the C level or the business owner of the companies. So you have to keep an eye out on that. Farming is one where they actually send you, everything looks legit. They click a link and you go to a website that looks legit, but it's not the actual website. This is common a lot nowadays. They just send you to a separate website. You think you're typing in all the right information and all your contact information and everything, but it's actually been redirected to a bad guy's website. Ransomware. I want to talk a little bit about ransomware. Ransomware is probably the number one cause of bad things happening to companies today. Ransomware usually comes through phishing or spear phishing or whaling. And what it is you click on a link, you download a file, it drops the bad malware or whatnot onto your network. It spreads very rapidly. And what it does is it does two things. It locks down your network and it steals your data. Ransomware has been really prevalent since about 2017, 2018. And what it does is it really locks down your organization. And what the bad guys do now with ransomware is they'll tell you that we've locked your network, and you have a certain amount of time to pay us in cryptocurrency, and then they'll release your files back to you. They'll give you the decryption key. They're also now saying, though, because people might say, well, I got my backups, I'm good. Well, they're now saying, well, I also have your data, and if you don't pay me in crypto, I'm going to drop that on the dark web. And then all of a sudden you have customer information out on the dark web. You have your employee information on the dark web. You may have your financial information on the dark web, and you don't want that to happen. So ransomware is something really that's out there. It's impacting millions of companies, and we have to make sure that we educate ourselves to stop that. I'm going to go real quickly here. Distributed denial of service is just they send us a ton of information at once to your website. It slows you down to your website, brings your company down to a crawl. That's still a very common attack type. That's been around since 2008. Crypto mining is when someone breaks into yours and tries to steal some of your computing power to mine for crypto. And so it's really something that is common. I've experienced in my career, and it's something that they come in on the back door and they kind of sit there quietly. But if you're educated in this and you have a good team working with you, you can detect it. So these are the common attack types, and they're out there everywhere. So what is this? Let me tell you this. This is a bad day. If you come into your office one morning, or you woke up, you get up and you go in your home office and you grab your cup of coffee or your If you're like me, it's G0 and you're sitting there and you're chilling out and you're looking at everything and this pops up on your screen. This is a bad day. Take a couple Motrin. Because what this is a message from the bad guys saying ransomware is on your computer. They've locked you down. They have your computer. They have your files. And they give instructions. How do I pay? And as you can see, they have a very organized way to do it. On the left-hand side here is how much time you have left to pay. But you can see it's very well organized. It's a business, right? But what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about some other attack types. I want to talk about on-site attack types because a lot of us have business where people walk in and they interact with us. One of them is, and this is common, this happens a lot. This is called shoulder surfing. And you guys probably have experienced it already. You know, you might have a new employee or a contractor, and they're coming over and they want to talk to you, and they may start just looking like they're on their phone, and you sit down, you open your laptop, and you start to punch in your password. Actually, they're not really on their phone looking, texting everybody. They're kind of recording you as you put in your password on your laptop, or they're actually typing in your password while you do, and they're watching. It's called shoulder surfing. It happens a lot at airports. So be very careful when you're at an airport if somebody's kind of looking over your shoulder as you throw on your laptop or start texting on your phone. They're kind of checking you out. So be very, very careful of that. Another one's rogue Wi-Fi devices. Someone can actually just come in to your business, act like they're just sitting there kind of messing around on the Wi-Fi. Maybe it's a contractor. They can plug in a small wireless router and they can start to grab data off your network with their rogue Wi-Fi device. USBs. I call these malware sticks. I'd actually like to ban them from the world if I could. They are people come in with those, and they can plug in and they can download malware on your network, on your machine. And I can tell you, in my past career, I've done these. I've done an exercise where I take a bunch of USBs, I put them all over the place. I drop them in the parking lot. I put them on people's desks. I put them in, the break room on the floor. You'd be amazed how many people pick up that USB. They walk over to their laptop and they plug it in. As a matter of fact, the last place I worked, we had that happen. We had somebody who was in our LA office, in our home office, came to the headquarters. We did this exercise. Someone picked it up, and they plugged it. When they were heading back home, they had to fly through Chicago. He got into Chicago. We could detect this. He took the USB, plugged it into his laptop. We got him right there. We knew he did that. On that USB were files. One of the files was executive salaries. Guess which file he went to? He went to executive files, clicked on that, and then he looked at stuff, and all of it was bogus data because this was an exercise. He closed it down, got back up, went back to LA, got home. Later that night, did it again. Can you imagine the phone call that young man got the following day from our cyber team? So USBs, don't plug them in. If you get one, talk to somebody about what you should do with it. Parking lot attacks, again, are like rogue Wi-Fi device attacks. People can sit in your parking lot and they can just tap into your network. So now, look, I've talked about who are the threat actors. I gave you scary stats. Who are the threat actors? What are the threats out there today that are very common? I told you about some really like personal attacks, on-site attacks, all scary stuff. But don't worry. Now I'm going to talk for the next 5-10 minutes about how you actually protect yourself. And at Sensei, we're firm believers that if you do the practices at work, you'll do them at home. If you do them at home, you'll do them at work. And these are the things that I think you just need to do. And I'm going to go into these a little bit. One is strong passwords. Please, if you walk away from anything today in my discussion with you, is that your passwords need to be complex and you don't reuse them, and I'm going to explain why. So use a strong password. You can use climb the mountain passphrase, or you got to use numbers, symbols, letters, cap, lowercase. Please, and strong passwords, and then change them every night, at the very least every 90 days. The reason is passwords are a really good way of protecting yourself. And you have passwords for everything. I mean, I have thousands of passwords, no joke. My family, my wife and kids think I'm nuts, but I always am talking about their passwords. I see something on the dark web on that, I tell them, go change your password. So please make sure you have unique, complex passwords for all of your applications and everything that you log into. Second one is basic cyber hygiene. You know, basic cyber hygiene, professionally and personally, 88% of cyber incidents can be avoided with basic cyber hygiene. Let me give you an example. At Sensei, we talk about basic cyber hygiene a lot. And we say to people, you know, one of our clients asked me, well, I mean, I'd really like to have my wife take this training. Take it home, take our training, take it home and have your wife take it, have your kids take it, have your neighbors take it, have everybody take it, because basic cyber hygiene is going to stop 88% of the stuff that's going out there. So you got your strong passwords. The other one is password reuse. And now usually when I do this talk live, I say to people, how many people here are reusing their passwords? And most people some people sheepishly raise their hand. Most people kind of look at each other. A lot of people write down, oh my gosh, never reuse your password. And let me tell you why. If I get into your email using your Gmail password and I see your emails from your bank, your Netflix account, your Chewy account, wherever you got, you know, your Vineyard Vine account, whatever, and you're using the same password, guess what? I'm not only in your email, I'm in your bank, I'm in Netflix, I'm in Vineyard Vines, I'm in your Chewy account. Never reuse your password. Make them complex, never reuse them. If you walk away from this webinar with anything, those are the two things I want you to walk away with. Strong passwords, never reuse them. Always patch your systems. There's settings on your systems. Let's use your iPhone, for example. There's a setting on your iPhone. You can automatically update or develop a process to accept updates 1 week after release. Some people like to wait a little bit to make sure there's nothing wrong, no bugs in the release. Set that. I'm telling you, set that. It'll automatically update for you. Really important. Sometimes it'll only download it, and then you just have to hit the button update. Always patch your systems. Stay current. Do regular backups. Backup to portable drives or subscribe to a service in the cloud. I'm nuts. I've told you I'm nuts. My family thinks I'm crazy. I do both. I back all of my stuff up to the cloud, but I also, about once every 2 weeks, sometimes sooner, sometimes more frequently, I have a portable device. I plug it into my laptop. It backs everything up. I go hide it in my house. Yes, you heard me right. I hide it in my house. My kids and my wife have asked me before, so if there's a fire, what happens? I tell them, I'm going to get you guys out, wife, kids, portable backup, then my dogs. So I have probably a problem. Multi-factor authentication, no brainer. Enroll it wherever possible. Please do it. It's easy. That's when you just ask for it to be installed. It sends you a text message on your phone. You can use Google Authenticator, Duo Authenticator. There's a bunch out there. Microsoft Authenticator sends you a code. It's two-way. It's the second way of letting you in. It's authenticating not only your device, but a second way of authenticating you in. Please do that on your bank accounts and all your accounts that are possible. Malware. Keep your subscriptions definitions up to date. No brainer. I don't think I need to go into much more detail there, except to say this. They automatically renew. You actually literally have to go in and stop them from renewing. Don't do that. Let them renew. They're protecting you. Use security awareness training. At Sensei, if you're a Sensei client, we give that to you. We do educational awareness training every other month. It's a fun, sticky video with some questions. You'll get a kick out of it. And the off months, we do phishing simulations. Not to embarrass anybody, not to put you down, but actually just to educate you. And these are the things that you want to know. You'd rather make a mistake in security awareness training than in your real life, right? And so that's why we do that. And Sensei is really good at it, but there's some others that are really good too. Know-Before, Security Mentor are good partners as well. I talk to people about this all the time. Do not click links and emails from people you don't know. Curiosity killed the cat, satisfaction brought it back. That is not true. Do not click links from people you don't know. And the same thing, don't answer your phone if a call's coming from somebody that you don't know. If your caller ID doesn't have a name on there, don't answer it. Guess what? If they want to get a hold of you, they leave you a message, right? So if you don't know them, don't respond. Don't click the links, all that kind of good stuff, right? Use a VPN, virtual private network. Always use a VPN when you can. This is a good one too. If someone asks you to change your financial data or provide personal data to them, pick up the phone and call them. I promise you, your bank, your credit union are not calling you, are not emailing you to change your financial data. A lot of social engineering attacks are happening now when people click on, they think they're getting an email from their boss saying, please wire this money to this organization, otherwise we can't start the project. You know what? That's not true. If you even have a doubt of that, call your boss. Call someone in HR. Call someone in IT. Ask them to look for you. These are simple ways to protect yourself, not only yourself, but your company and your family. All right, now what I want to do is, because you're probably thinking, yeah, that's really great advice. You know, thank you. You are nuts, but thank you. But here is something that I like to say, you know, I got to eat my own dog food. So what I'm going to tell you is how I actually protect myself and my family. Simple things that everyone can do. They're not really expensive. And it's something that I would encourage everybody to do. And actually, I also want to say, you know, again, I'm David Bean. You can email me, contact me. If you just have a question, one question, hey, I have a question about this, call me, text me. I'm going to help you, okay? Because I'm really passionate about this stuff. So first, this is how I protect myself and my family. First, I purchased a credit protection service. I actually there's good ones out there. Experian, LifeLock, there's really good ones. I use Experian. It's $19.99 a month. What that does for me is it protects my bank accounts, my credit cards, my social security number, my passport number. Up until your kids are 18, you can. It's my email addresses. It's all of their information as well. And so if anything shows up on the dark web, they let me know. Someone opens an account with my social security number, they let me know. The great thing about Experian too, and I think LifeLock's the same, is I can lock my credit just by clicking a button. And so nobody can open anything and open a line of credit because I have it locked. It's a really good service. I get a lot of alerts. That's the world we live in. But it's a service that I think everyone can. You should, if you can, get a credit protection service. Purchase a password manager. I use Password Keeper. It's a family plan. It's $59.99 a year. It's for a family of 5. It allows for you to have unique, complex passwords and stored in a password manager for all your passwords. Again, you know, I'm a nut job about passwords. I have at least 1,000 of them. I use Password Keeper, and so do my kids. And when my kids change, when something has to come up, they've changed their password every 90 days, 120 days, whatever it is. I would say to you, put it in Password Keeper. They give me that teenager look, but it all works. I install multi-factor authentication on everything. I also use biometrics on everything I can. I would highly recommend you do that. It's just a safe way of keeping your data secure. I secure my home Wi-Fi. When I use Xfinity, I love Xfinity. Some people don't. I do. When they come, they help me do my Wi-Fi. But there is a standard password on that comes with it on the bottom of it. When they're there, I have them turn it over. I take that off. I work with them. I put my new secure Wi-Fi in there. I keep it to myself. There's other things I do. I change my name of my home Wi-Fi. There's just certain ways to secure your home Wi-Fi. I upgrade my devices regularly. I have them on auto update. I'm a nut job. I'm crazy. I have my kids do it all the time. I send them a text. Hey, Apple has a new iOS. Go ahead and do it. And then I double check all the time. But I have them on auto update. You guys should do the same. It's just these are simple ways of protecting yourself. And I talked about my backups. Backup daily to the cloud, such as the iCloud, and then backup often to a secure portable device. This is simple things to do to protect yourself and your family. And again, I'm eating my own dog food. I do all these, and I'm happy to talk to you about those as well. Here's some resources for you. A lot of great ones. I should have NIST on there. I should have CISA on here. These are all good spots that you can go and get really good information. And I can tell you at Sensei, is one of the co-founders of Sensei and the client service, chief client services officer. I look at these all the time. I stay up to date so that I can provide great service for my clients. So with that, I've done a lot of talking. I'm really excited to answer any questions you may have. And again, David Bean, contact me anytime, even if you just have one question, because I'm passionate about this and I want to help protect you. So thanks a lot. And I'll turn it back to Dave to kind of answer any questions, see if we have any questions.
Yeah, I think, why don't we jump to the polling questions really quick? We'll look at the results so everyone can see kind of what the results are of the polling questions, and then we'll jump into questions. All right, so let me make sure I know how to do this. First question. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna shrink this so I can see it. Whoa. All right, there we go. Do you have a cybersecurity incident response plan? 43% said yes, 57% said no. Incident response plan is really critically important. There's things that you can do, particularly when it's a ransomware incident where you need to respond quickly, and having that plan in place and knowing what to do is a critically important step in recovery should an incident occur. So it's good to see there's some people that actually do have an incident response plan. All right, let me go to the next one. Do you feel prepared? 64% said no, 36% said yes. This is not a surprise. I think we touched on earlier that, you know, cybersecurity can be complicated. A lot of people who talk about cybersecurity talk in acronyms, and it can be confusing, and it's not something that most business owners, you know, are interested in dealing with. But it's something that's really kind of has to be top of mind nowadays, considering what we're seeing out in the world.
Yeah, and I would say, you know, as we talk about, you know, let's talk old school work and business, and you always fund technology, you always fund other things in your business. I think we're at the stage now in our lifetime in our business that you do have to fund for cybersecurity. It's just one of those things that, and so to be honest with you, I'm actually, you know, the number was higher than I thought it was going to be. So I'm good job, everybody. We still got work to do though.
All right, written cybersecurity policies. This one's turned out quite good, actually. I mean, almost 70% of people have written cybersecurity policies. The one thing I would say that's important, it's one thing to have policies. It's another thing to make sure that you're sharing them with your employees and that your employees understand them, right? Understand why they have to be doing the things they do, they should be doing when it comes to cybersecurity. All right.
And I know everybody loves to read policies. It's so fun, but it is becoming more and more important.
And lastly, automated process that forces you to change your passwords. I think David talked a lot about passwords on this presentation, so we can still see we still have some work to do there. There are easy ways to do this. Most platforms and software have a back-end mechanism that forces users to do it, and it's something that you should really look into setting up.
Yeah, and passwords are, you know, again, you might have a system that forces users to change passwords. How often are you changing them? Is it every 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? Changing them once a year, not cutting it. So consider that the frequency of changing them as well. But overall, I think, you know, looking at the numbers, pretty educated crowd we have on this webinar, and, you know, good stuff. I know we have a couple chat questions. Is that right, Evan?
Yeah.
So let's answer these. The first one is, why are small and medium-sized organizations in more danger of being attacked than large businesses? I'll go first. I'll let Dave chime in, but I would say that because large businesses, and many times, they have a large IT staff, they have a large cybersecurity staff that's really focused on cybersecurity. A lot of times, small and medium-sized organizations don't have the larger staffs and the dedicated teams to focus on cybersecurity, and so that's the issue. That's why they don't have the resources to fight it like the big ones do. Don't mishear me. The big ones are getting hacked and breached too, but they buy the technology, they buy the people, and a lot of times small and medium-sized organizations don't have the resources to do that.
Yeah, it's really sort of think of it as sort of a path of least resistance. Over time, the large companies have started to really focus on cybersecurity as part of their strategic planning. They talk about it in their quarterly board meetings. It's become, part of their culture. And I think what's happened is it's becoming a little bit more difficult for hackers to penetrate some of the larger corporations. So they're sort of taking the path of least resistance, and small and medium-sized organizations haven't taken that step yet to start to get those cyber hygiene processes in order, and they become a little bit more of an easy target.
Do I need cyber insurance? Another question. Do I need cyber insurance, Dave?
Sure, I can take that one. There's different types of cyber insurance. I think if you're looking into it, there's insurance. Not all cyber insurance is created equally. There's insurance. Most of the insurance that's out there, if you're just getting a general policy, is more for like natural disasters. So if something happens, if there's a fire, if there's a flood, or if there's a cyber attack, they may replace equipment. But my suggestion would be to ask questions. Does the policy cover ransomware, for example, right? Oftentimes insurance companies are providing different policies. So there's one policy for if there's a disaster that takes care of replacing your equipment. And there's a second policy that's actually for ransomware that's really necessary to bring your data back up, get your systems back up and running, and those sorts of things. It's great to have cyber insurance, and they're putting a lot more requirements on those policies that you'll need to be aware of when you go to apply.
Yeah, and I would say this about cyber insurance. I agree with everything Dave said, and I was up until April of this year, I was a CIO of a publicly traded company, and when we were renewing our cyber insurance, it was 69 pages of information they want us to fill out. Now we were a bigger company, but a lot of companies just don't have the time nor the expertise to answer all those. Call us. Just we're happy to help you with that stuff. So keep that in mind as you think about what cyber insurance is, and if you need it and when you need it, because I think you need it.